Evie and I were talking about why is this topic important. I think being with the national team program, we've come a long way with athlete collaboration. And so for me, it's been pretty cool. How many of you either learned or grew up kind of playing for a coach that just like told you what to do and you're like, yep, I'm going to do that? Yeah, that was me too. And we're thankful for them. We're really grateful for what they taught. And that was awesome. But now we're finding that the more we can include our athletes, now we're not talking about everything. They're not running the team. But the more we can include them in some of these decisions, the better. And some of the things that I think about is if I'm included in that process, I'm probably going to do it better. Okay, if you think about those athletes that can come up with some answers to whatever it is, they're going to just have better quality in their work. They're going to be more attentive. It's going to create some ownership of the process. And that's a really cool, result of this. But it's also kind of just mirroring what these kids want to do and what they want to be a part of. Okay, so we're trying to do that as much as possible within realistic, within reality with our program, okay? Another thing that I think about is we're empowering them to be a part of the process because ultimately they're the ones playing, right? So if they are out on the court and it's 14-13, if it's 24, whatever it is, we want them to be able to stand out here and be big and be tall. And we think that if they're part of that, the chances of them doing that or getting to that spot are greater. Okay, so I feel like we're gonna name drop a lot, but we work with this USOPC kind of team coaching like mentor, and we were talking about this. I was talking to him about this, and he's Tama. At the end of the day, they're on the court, right? So why not include them in the process? I said, sure. Yes, we can't be on the sidelines. I know some coaches are really close talking to the players, but that's just not how it is for all of us. So that's another part of that is just empowering them to make some decisions, to take ownership, to take responsibility. And I think another point of why we think this topic is important is feedback is critical at all levels. And how I approach it is I want to know exactly where I stand. I think hopefully some of you do too. I'm not trying to tell you how to think, but we want to know where we stand, and that's part of feedback. And so our job, we can design a good environment. We can set up really good drills. We can learn how to give better feedback. We can get input from them. But it's a critical piece. And so I guess we're just encouraging you. There's going to be some things we're going to talk about and share with you. And some of it is going to sound awesome. And some of it, you're going to look at us like these two are crazy. Because it's a lot. Okay, we've come a long way. But find whatever works for your context. Like you could be thinking right now, Tom, we're not working in high performance. Just a club coach. Sure, but there's a feedback element there. And I think we coaches, we owe it to the kids to get better at it, to listen to them and just find little ways to get better. So that's a little bit about our why. For the first one, corrective versus motivational. So there's obviously a ton of different ways to give feedback, but this example is just kind of differentiating. Hey, use your legs to set that ball. Finish long with your arms. I need you to hold your platform a little longer. And then we have kind of a motivational feel vibe from it. My example would be I'm working with Morgan Hens right now in a gym, and she's working on expanding her range. So she could be passing in zone 5 and she's half court. She makes a really nice read. She's working on her focus and just gets aced. So something that I would say would be like, hey, yes, we're on it. You're on it. I like what you're trying to do there. And so she knows that she shanked the ball, right? So we know that's a good serve. You're passing half court. We're working on something, in a sense, a little bit of failure. But what I'm trying to create is an environment that's like, yo, you are right there. When we need to put you in and you need to pass half court, you are right there. That was a really good read. So by kind of changing that tone, we have some options there. I find I use a lot more motivational because the understanding of the skill is pretty high for our girls. Okay, they know exactly what it looks like, what they want to look like, obviously within the context of our system. So they have that. Now, you might be in a situation where you need to do a little bit more of the corrective part, but you need to find that balance. Internal versus external. I kind of look at internal, like body parts, okay? And external is obviously outside the body. And I don't know if any of you have heard Karch talk, but Karch is like a genius when it comes to external cues. Like, genius. So I wrote a note to myself, hype Karch up. Okay, so look, when we're talking about out of system setting, okay, we know we want to make it simple, we want to face where we want to set. We want to square up early. Sure, nothing super life-changing, right? Karch will say, logo to the target. So we find that sometimes we can change up the cue just a little bit where it doesn't force that, it kind of relaxes their body in a way so that they can execute a skill like this. So if I'm a libero or I'm a middle back or whatever, and I need to set, I'm just pointing my logo, which is usually on the chest, to the target. Okay, so logo to target. Another one is if you watch our outside hitters, we really like it when their shoes are on the sideline when they jump. Okay, so there's so many different cues, but we try to find a good balance of when external. There's so much research about this, guys. But when it's better to use those, sometimes you got some young kids and you're like, hey, your elbow needs to do this, So you guys have to find the balance, but we try heavily to use external cues. For passing, there's very little feedback I give that's talking about their actual body parts. Okay, so when we track the ball, we're getting in the line. That's simplifying. Just let's get our platform to the line of the serve. When we talk about creating an angle, we say tilt. Some of you drop the shoulder. It might be great for you, and that's awesome. But there's some room there where we can kind of explore external cues.
Some of the rhythm of feedback is important. So this is a thing to think through in your planning, your own rhythm of how you want to give feedback. But there's a frequency and then there's summary. So there's frequency, like maybe there's an athlete, this is a brand new skill for them. You're teaching someone to sprawl for the first time, something, maybe a middle blocker to set for the first time. We do that even at our level. Middle blockers will come in, I got to set? Yeah, you got to set. But first time, maybe the frequency is a lot more common, a lot faster. What you'll see from us a lot, especially athletes you've coached more often, you'll see more of summary feedback. So summary feedback might be after 2-3 reps, maybe 5. You're going to chunk that a little bit more. Let the athlete fail. We are always talking about how failure makes you better, but there's a lot of times we'll get to watch practice and I'm just like, just let them fail, like let them struggle, and then give that feedback after a batch. I think probably around a handful is most appropriate, but it might be a little bit of time, and then you can ask them a question. How's that going? How's your focus on your cue? Another one is bandwidth feedback. So bandwidth feedback is trying to give feedback plus or minus a certain success of the cue that they're working on. So if Tama is going to talk about holding a pass, maybe they're really struggling. They're holding it 0 out of 10 times. Okay, we probably need to give a little bit more feedback. But if they're 9, 8, 10 out of 10 times nailing that cue, we might give them a little more leniency. So plus or minus of like setting a goal for one another on that cue that you're working on, the piece that you're working on, looking at the bandwidth of that.
Cool. And then we love to question. We ask our players before practice things. We ask them after a drill. We ask them after practice. And what we want to learn about them. We want to learn about how they learn. We want to learn what they understood from the drill or the instruction that we just gave. I like questioning for understanding. And just, it's remarkable how clear we think we're being in our instruction. And then when they go out there, you're like, what? That is not what I said. So there could be a little bit of space there to just, hey, how do you understand this drill to work? Hey, what do you think the goal of this drill is? So there are some questions that we can ask. I think one small thing that I like to differentiate, especially when we're working with passers, is what do you see? What did you see there? How did that feel? And what it's doing is it's connecting what they saw, what their body did, what their brain told them to do. It's connecting all of that. And if they can kind of just regurgitate that to me really quick, I think that's a good learning moment. We get to learn about them. They get to learn about what they just did. So we like questions. And as we get better, because I was like not very good at the start with this, but I feel like I'm getting better. But we need to create better questions. So one, they feel good answering them. They give us the honest answer. It's not like an attack to what you're doing. Why'd you do that? Okay, that's like literally the worst question ever. But creating a space where, hey, I want to know what you just thought about that situation, or what's a different answer for that? Could you make that read a little sooner? Okay, so that's a little bit about our questioning that we try to do.
I think just off of that, the last two is direct and indirect. Direct might be an example of just, hey, foul through the target. It's really similar to corrective. Could be just straight to the point. Indirect feedback, very similar to questioning. It's just going to be a little bit kind of indirectly getting a question to get another answer out of them. So for an example, if a server is trying to serve seam 1 or into area 1 between 1 and 6, direct feedback like, hey, foul through to that target. And then indirect, maybe, hey, that serve veered to the left. Why do you think that happened? And get them to respond a little bit. And those responses can be super quick. The more you know your athletes, the quicker that rapport will be. But you can see how that there's, like Tama said, there's tons of research in the book that's in your resources. Make It Stick talks about this a lot. What's going to stick with the athlete? The end goal, feedback, our purpose as coaches is to get them to be able to perform and be awesome when the match comes or when the competition comes, when it comes to performance. And so if we can now use some of these tools to make things stick a little more and make that transfer happen from practice to what you see in a competition, then you've done a lot of your work. So I think some of those ways of mixing your feedback up, also looking at some of the research in there, we're still a work in progress for sure, but we talk about this a lot.
We call this Volley School. It's a little bit, the tone is a lot of tutoring, okay? So we're gonna have some controlled serves here. We have some passers here. You can raise your hand, and they're gonna rotate through my setter. Yeah, we have some blockers here. Molly, raise your hand. She's also a middle, and what she's gonna do is she's gonna make a kind of a mock move behind the middle that's on. Okay, so it's another learning opportunity to read. Okay, and then we got our catchers. Well, in our gym, we have targets. So maybe you guys have targets too, but not. We have Donovan and Cody just catching. Then you're gonna nicely toss the ball to the setter. Okay, so in general, we're gonna serve down the line, and we're gonna pass, set, catch. Blockers, you're gonna make a move. We're gonna read off the setter. Okay, so passers, you are gonna work on your hold. You're gonna hold your finish. Okay, so coaches, I met these girls like 20 minutes ago. So I told them, I really don't care how you get to the ball, but I'll need you to hold. That's the focus, okay? So I'm pretty clear. Holding is your platform. If you can, also with your bottom half, we'll get a good look and I'll give you some feedback.
Cool. Setters, our focus is before the passer touches the ball to be stopped and facing them. And how we move to the net, we're going to be working from rotation 1. We'll have 2 entries, 1 at a time from rotation 1, and then from rotation 4. So we'll work through that, but stopping, facing, blockers, all of our blockers, pin blockers, middle blockers, you guys are going to be working on reading, like Tama said, and how we're going to know that you're doing that is we're just going to get a snap to the setter, okay? So you guys are going to get your head snapped to the setter on that right before they touch the ball. Once you know that pass isn't coming over the net, let's get a head snap.
So, let's start here down the line. Keep going.
Ooh. Nice, Megan.
Yep, and then cast.
Did you get stopped on that one?
I did.
Nice. Yeah, that was great. I love that our blockers in the back are mirroring. We don't have a net for everybody, so we got Molly and we got working on the back there. I love that. Chance to read, getting a head snap even there. Carly, way to get stopped and facing.
How was that hold?
Right after that one, go, Meg.
Cool. Okay, hold up. All right, sorry,
Megan.
I'm going to use you as an example.
Megan.
So I asked her, how was that hold? She said it was good, but then she started to talk about other things. Okay, so what I would do in this moment, if you're my player, okay, but how was the hold? So what I'm trying to do is help us stay focused on the task that we're working on. And our players love to be good at everything, right? They want to be perfect, and that's awesome. And so what I'm thinking, I don't want to shut this train of thought down. I'm not going to interrupt her when she's telling me. What I would say is, great. Okay, we're working on holding. Give me a good hold. Motivational. Let's get back in. We're back on it. Okay, so as coaches, that's one of the things I think we're trying to work on too. Is it's really easy for our mind to wander, and so let's bring it back to the focus. And the whole attempt is we're going to get 0.5% better today on this one thing, and then we're going to keep building, okay? All right, keep going. Give me a good hold. Yeah. Great. Give me a good hold.
Good snap, Molly.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Blockers, let's really overemphasize that. Really get eyes early. Yeah.
Good fight.
Oh, that's nice.
Good fight.
I want to see it even though I'm not looking at your eyeballs.
There we go.
Yep. Go, Megan. Nice.
Oh,
Fast
yeah.
serve, Megan. Way to still get stopped.
Nice move.
Nice job.
Yes. How was that one?
Good.
How was that hold?
Blockers, let's get a switch after this one.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, Carly, could you get stopped on that? Were you able to?
How was that hold?
Nice eyes, too.
How was your hold? Okay. Okay, hold up. 1 second. Hold up 1 second. Okay, so don't worry. I already warned them that they're kind of like they're gonna be the examples. So I just asked her, how was that hold? And she said, that's okay. What we're trying to do is we're trying to build this connection here. I'm trying to get to a spot where she can stay focused on whatever she's doing. And I want to shorten this loop here. So the next time I'll make a joke probably, but I'll be like, hey, it's good or bad. It's okay. Let's move on. But it's awesome, right? Because she knows, she's aware, and we're all humans. So I just kind of laughed it off. But you're going to get that sometimes where either they don't quite understand what we're doing to execute it, or they're kind of like shy and they're like, I know I messed up. That's okay. We're trying to create a space that allows them to do stuff like this, okay? To fail, to work on our connection and how I coach you and your response and all that. Okay, so that was you couldn't hear it, but I wanted to share. So sorry, but you're helping the coaches get better.
Hey, blockers, when you individually have a good snap, just say yes. Just say the word yes as you snap, okay? So we can kind of check each other. Okay, let's go again. Nice, stopped and facing.
Yes.
Nice. Got to serve tougher.
Hey, sorry. Okay, so servers, you're gonna serve cross court now. Okay, just a tiny different look. Coaches, we're not spending like forever on this. It's a couple minutes, and we have a lot of courts where we train. So after a couple minutes, what we could do is either change that serve up, or I would just send this group to the next court and I would get a new one. Okay, but now we're just gonna serve cross court. Okay, so a little different look for the passers and the setters, blockers.
Yeah, Megan.
Nice hold.
Stop, face, Meg. Good job. Early snap, Molly. Nice.
Nice hustle. How was that?
Good. Blockers, give me a thumbs up if you got a good snap. Nice.
Okay, and you guys can keep going. I'll talk to the coaches real quick. So, coaches, we would also have Karch here. He might be here with us. He might be on a different court. So he could take
nice.
maybe
Way to get
just
clarification.
the
I like that.
opposites. You know, just the outside hitters. So for all of you that have like a good amount of staff, we can really get some good work done here. And,
Okay.
you know, for
All right, let's
example,
hold this, sir.
I don't have to. I don't serve
That's it.
because I would rather coach back here. But I don't know that you all have the luxury of that. And so if you notice, EV has
Good job, you guys.
put in place, hey, if you execute the focus, give me a thumbs up. Okay, so if I'm serving back here and I'm looking at the good hold, I'll kind of do one of these and they'll give me, yes, I did it. It was okay. I need to work on it. Okay, so that's another tool that we have. And I guess the biggest thing is just if you have to do the serving or you're far away, it's a really quick way to get some feedback.